This pilot takes a big collapse on the speed bar on his low B, and it turns into one of the craziest videos I've seen. Today, I'm going to break it down for you to help you understand common misconceptions about collapse recovery and how you can avoid this situation in the future. Are you ready? Here we go.
See ya.
I'm paragliding!
See ya! Hey everybody, this is Arian there. Welcome back to the channel. Stoked you're here. I teach high-level paragliding to create safe, confident, and connected pilots. I've made over 200 tutorials here on YouTube, but that only goes so far. If you want these kind of skills, you're going to want to come to the Pine Man, my all-inclusive week-long paragliding intensive here in Oregon, late May. It's going to be amazing. All levels of pilots are welcome. Link is in the description. Definitely check it out. Let's get into today's video here. Okay, we're going to watch it once through, and then I'm going to go back and break it down. Okay, he's pushing the speed bar. He's got cool corduroy and nice boots on. I like those boots. He's very cold. He's like shivering. And collapse. Another collapse. Double cravat. Kind of pumping the brakes. Hands are off the brakes. Pumping the brakes. Grabbing the riser, lost the brake. Now lost both brakes. No hands on the brakes. Spiraling, auto-rotating, stalls the glider, tail slide, shoots again, line twist. Cravat on one side. And it clears. He screams, fuck. Holy fuck. Okay, holy fuck is right, bro. Okay, so let's go back to the beginning. There's a couple things that I notice. Right away, before I even say anything about the event, let's just say he's on the second step of his speed bar here. You see? But his speed bar is only half engaged. That means his speed bar is incorrectly adjusted. Obviously, the second step of this speed bar should give you full speed, and he's at half speed here. So definitely tighten up your speed bar lines so that you can get full speed. If he wants half speed, he should be using the first step, not the second step. Okay, and then the next thing that I notice is that he's shivering violently in the harness. He's like, he's up at 2150 meters, and he's cold, which means he's not experienced at flying at this altitude, at this site, taking climbs to this height. He's underdressed. He's in over his head already. So let's play. Okay, and just before, why is it a problem to be super cold? Well, if you're super cold and you're shivering, your physiology just sucks. You're not ready to be athletic and take your life into your own hands and really quickly respond in profound physical movements that your safety is relying on. So you have to be comfortable. You don't want to be too hot. You don't want to be too cold. You don't want to be too thirsty. You don't want to be too hungry. You want to be slept. You want to be fit. You want to be strong. You want to be confident. And shivering, being frozen is not any way to fly a paraglider. So let's play. Okay, so he's flying along in a hoodie. Shivering. Okay, let's talk about the collapse now. Ready? Here it comes. Collapse. And it goes nose down. And okay, so why does it collapse? I mean, obviously it collapses for the same reason that every glider collapses, which is that some bump in the air on speed bar was not caught with the rear risers or the brakes or otherwise. We can't see it because it's not in the video. So generally, there's not a ton I can break down here for you, but obviously he needed to pull on the rear risers at the right time and the right amount so that he could keep the glider from collapsing. He doesn't do that. The glider collapses. And the first thing that we really see is this configuration where the glider is, 40% collapsed on the left side and is in a big cravat configuration and starts to auto-rotate him immediately, right? It's already diving really hard left. What's the rule that I've made famous on this channel? Don't let the glider turn you. Don't let the glider turn you. Don't let the glider turn you. Something now happens that kind of saves him in a really strange way, which is, as you can see, because the glider shoots so hard with that cravat, it basically makes him do a wing over that's really terrible. He doesn't correct. And you can see he's basically just holding on to the rises in the left hand, and he takes this huge collapse on the right. And this cravat right here, now this configuration, this double cravat, this actually saves him because it's clear to me that he's in over his head. He wasn't going to like pull the outside brake and stop the auto rotation. If this cravat had not happened, then it would have auto rotated so hard to the left into a sat configuration. Maybe he would have thrown the reserve. It probably would have been eaten up by the glider, yada, yada, yada. It's just like really a bad situation that based on this video, I don't think he was prepared to deal with in the first place. But this second cravat, what it does is it kind of makes the glider symmetrical in some way. It basically counteracts the big cravat on the left to have a big cravat on the right. And what actually happens is that the cravat on the right is even bigger, so it actually stops the rotation and starts a new auto rotation to the right. Okay, so now, but it's even though it's nose down, it's really not like super G'd up here. Okay, then he stalls the glider, but we got to go back because there's crazy shit that happens between here and there. I'm not laughing at him, I'm laughing with him, I think. Hopefully he's laughing by now. He's had some time to process this. So I have talked a lot about cravats on this channel. One of the biggest misconceptions about collapse recovery and cravats is that you should use the stabilo. And the reason that this is such a dangerous thing for instructors to tell students that to clear a cravat, you should use the stabilo is found right here. Watch. Glider's auto-rotating. His left hand then goes up and starts touching the A-riser. Okay, why is he touching the A-riser here? Well, he's touching the A-riser because someone told him that if he gets a cravat that he should use the stabilo, but he doesn't really know which one the stabilo is. And so he's reaching up, just trying to find the stabilo, trying to ameliorate his situation, trying to make it better, but he doesn't actually know what to do, right? This is why when I teach collapse recovery, I do it 95% of it with the brakes because the brakes are already in your hands. You already have them. You shouldn't be like looking up to spaghetti trying to interpret what is the stabilo, find it, pull more of it, pull more of it, pull more of it. Because that's really what it takes to clear a big cravat with a stabilo. So in this configuration right here, we've got a glider that is double cravated, nose down, auto rotating, yet the pilot does not have a hold of the brake toggle. Let's play a little further. Oh my God, he doesn't have either brake toggle. That is crazy. What a situation to not have the brakes in your hands. I think another part of this is like when you get super cold, specced out under a paraglider, what part of you gets coldest? Your hands. His hands are probably totally numb. He's like, his fingers are wooden here. So it's like his body is not working well right here, and neither is his brain. So now the glider's auto-rotating. This huge cravat right side is basically, if you look at the cravat, this is more orderly, and this is stuck on the lines and ballooning, and that creates a big air brake on the right. That's why the right side cravat is more powerful than the left, and it's making an auto-rotation to the right. Okay, so what happens? He basically finally gets a hold of the brakes, and what's he start doing? He starts tug. Ooh, one big tug, and that's all it takes to stall the glider. Okay, it is actually pretty impressive that the glider goes from a nose down spiral configuration to stalled so quickly, but that just shows that the pilot finally got a hold of the brakes and put a sharp input on the glider, and it stalls the glider, which sends it back, which clears both cravats. And this right side one is going to kind of reform because he doesn't check the glider at all. It just kind of like lets it shoot. And then now he's in line twist, and the glider is going to want to auto rotate, but the glider, since it's low B, he probably pumps it a little bit. There, it clears. That is pretty crazy, right? Like huge collapse, double cravat, almost line twist, no hands on the brakes, auto rotation to the left, auto rotation to the right, and then a huge stall out that clears it. So what do we learn from this? You cannot fly super cold. You got to be prepared, being able to forecast the temperature of the top of lift, dressing appropriately. This is the reality of paragliding. Man, you can get in over your head so quickly. You just take one good climb, and all of a sudden you're just stratospheric, and you're like in bike gloves and a hoodie in an open harness, just shivering, and your hands are wood and numb, and you can't feel anything. And then when you finally take a collapse, you never knew how to deal with that in the first place. So then you're just like kind of hoping and wishing and grabbing at the A's like this right here, and then losing both brake toggles like here. and then finally just pulling on the brakes and stalling the glider violently and letting it restart itself. Woo! That was a wild ride for him. Be careful, people. You know, this is why good mentorship is so important. Not letting your friends get in way over their head, because surely he's got friends who are more experienced than him in pod harnesses with big ski gloves and know what it's like to spec out. And he was led into a spot where he's way over his head. So if you want these kind of skills, consider the Pine Man, my all-inclusive paragliding clinic, week-long here in Oregon, late May. Link is in the description. Very limited spots available. I can't take everyone. So get it while you can. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next episode.